welcome to the Gascap podcast. Today we're talking
Later in
about
this
video games and movies and stuff.
later in this podcast, we're going to talk about the recently released and very good movie "Once Upon a Time in Hollywood," directed by Quentin Tarantino and starring Leonardo DiCaprio and Brad Pitt. And
And
when we get to
also
that
Mario
point,
and also Margot Robbie's feet.
A lots of Margot Robbie feet.
yeah. So once we get to that point, it'll be
We'll say
spoiler
there's
territory. So cut
yeah.
cut cut off at that point if you
So
haven't seen the
later in the
movie.
podcast, spoiler territory for Quentin Tarantino's Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
I'll
But
probably
for
try
now,
I
we're going
to.
to
guess
talk about.
I guess that saying that it's good is kind of a spoiler because like
Whoa, dude, you're saying too much.
someone might.
Whoa, no!
I'm
Holy
I'm
crap!
sorry
You
about
just
that.
spoiled the whole movie.
Dude, what? What are you doing, man?
I'm sorry. I didn't really realize that.
For now, we're going to talk a little bit about the new Call of Duty and
Uh,
kind of how we all feel about it, and then maybe how it versus against Battlefield.
So I don't
Also,
know.
gonna point out immediately, we're not. You guys can't see us. We're
Yes,
invisible. This
this
podcast.
is a special high tech episode of the Gascap podcast.
high tech special.
Yes.
None of us are even in the same room at this point.
Yeah, dude. We don't
Yes.
have to be. From now on, every single video will be shot in our own homes. Like whenever it cuts to somebody else, it's just gonna be filmed by
Yes,
that person in their own home, and we won't ever
and
interact ever again.
it's all going to be scripted. So like we'll have a script out and we'll just film our parts and cut it together.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, scripted
That's
podcasts are the
exactly how we're
future.
doing everything now.
It'll be a new art form.
Yes, it's avant garde.
Line. All right. So, there was a new trailer for Call of Duty Modern Warfare,
Uh-huh.
And when was that
and there
released?
was some gameplay. There has been a bunch of gameplay from a whole bunch of different people because they had an event for it.
When was that
What do you
event?
guys think? The event was recently,
Hmm.
and
But
the
no,
trailer was released. I think it was August 2nd is when it was all
actually
released.
don't know anything about this, so I'm gonna actually like really quickly like watch some gameplay of it. But you guys talk about it while I'm
Yeah,
doing
while
that.
you're doing I didn't really watch any gameplay, but I watched. Do you guys watch the Act Man at all?
I do watch
No,
the Act-Man.
Well, I watched his most recent video was about Call of Duty, and like the things they talked about are really exciting. Like how like all the animations are completely new, and like how well the sound is in all of it. And like I want like a Battlefield quality sound in Call of Duty.
That's something that I feel like Battlefield is about to get beat on with this new Call of Duty. Is this new Call of Duty, like every other Call of Duty before, has always had like every mode has been 6v6. There's been a ground war, which is like 8 versus 8, 9 versus 9, I think,
Uh,
and then there's usually some smaller team based game modes like 4v4 or 3v3 or 1v1. But this one, we have your normal 6v6, then you have a 10v10, then you have a 20 versus 20, and then the ground war game mode can get up to like 100 plus players. There is
that's
no
awesome.
actual player cap on that, but holy crap, dude!
So I just kind of
I
wanted.
they, honestly, this Call of Duty is sounding like too ambitious for a Call of Duty. I'm like, this is
yeah, I
too
can
good to be
agree.
true. Something's gonna go
Are you gonna bring it
wrong.
back to compensate for
For honestly, like the Act Man
new Call of
sounded.
Duty is only available on the Virtual Boy?
Yeah. Perfect, dude. Perfect. You can only play
Um,
it on a Game Boy cartridge,
yes.
Game Boy Color.
Oh, also, I mean, I think we talked about this in one of the previous podcasts. The game is going to be freaking crossplay. Like,
It's
Yeah,
pretty
that's
cool.
crazy,
oh my
honestly.
gosh, there's, I mean, I would say there's vehicles, but at this point, like Call of Duty, you finally showed up to the freaking game. Like there's been vehicles in Halo and Battlefield for so long now.
Yeah.
That's not very
Yeah.
exciting. Like one of the gameplays that I saw, people were riding 4 wheelers, and I'm like, wow, Battlefield 3 had that back in 2012. Get with the program.
Yeah,
But
So,
exactly.
so
freaking
Call of
Halo
Duty.
1,
Even
Halo
Battlefront
Combat
has it.
Evolved. Yeah, dude. So like Call of Duty, thanks for finally showing up
Yeah.
with vehicles.
Call of Duty and
But
TF2 are really the only like multiplayer FPS I really like played a bunch. So I don't really have very much to compare them to because the games are both completely different. So like I don't really know if this is any better than anything else. But this looks like a really good Call of Duty game. I
it
like the way the
does it
respawns look.
it does look really really good, but it looks so good that it's just like knowing Call of Duty. I get this feeling in the back of my head. It's like no, something's gonna mess up. They're gonna do something
Yeah,
wrong. I mean,
Yeah.
they've said all these good things. The campaign is back, and the campaign
I
is
like
going
that
to
the
be
campaign is back.
way grittier and more realistic than any other Call of Duty campaign we've had. Uh, a new engine, a freaking incredible gun customization. The
Wait, there's gun
multiplayer is bigger and
customization?
better. Yes, there's like 30 to 60 attachments for each weapon.
Dude, that sounds
Oh,
awesome.
that's nice.
To be fair, though, each attachment, it's like I think there's like a scope, a muzzle, different barrels, different magazines, different
Mhm.
stocks, grips. There's a whole bunch of stuff that you can change on your weapons,
Nice.
which is cool and all. But I mean, I guess we'll have to see how all that really affects the weapons themselves.
Yeah,
What all
true.
consoles is this coming out for?
Because in Battlefield 4, there is a large amount of customization there, but like some things, like if you compare them, they do the same thing. There is no difference between them. They just look
Mhm.
different. So
So it might be something like
I'm
that in
afraid
this.
that's what it's going to be. Yeah.
How many maps are there?
So yeah, the Call of Duty is just sounding. It's sounding too good to be true. Something's gotta go wrong here. I don't know what it's
Yeah.
gonna be, but
Honestly, the first
something.
thing that's went wrong is that Kevin Spacey isn't in it.
Yes, obviously, and no Margot Robbie feet. What
Yeah,
the heck?
exactly. We need Margot Robbie feet, dude.
I want
Gosh,
DLC
guys.
with Margot Robbie's feet.
Gosh, guys.
But
We
yeah,
aren't
this
getting too risque yet, all right?
You guys are river, but
this new Call of
We're
Duty, it just
teetering.
sounds.
it looks pretty good, honestly. Like,
It
I can
does look
agree,
um,
good, but it
honestly.
sounds too good to be true.
what all consoles is it coming out for?
It's coming out
Game Boy
on
Advanced,
yes,
DS,
Nintendo
Presumably.
DSi.
64. No, it's
Uh,
Xbox One, PS4, and PC. No Nintendo Switch,
Honestly, though,
and it's
okay.
like,
all crossplay.
why don't they like make uh Call of Duty games for 3DS and like the Switch? I mean, like they used to always make like Call of Duty games for like Wii and the normal DS. So why don't they do that anymore?
I don't know.
Well, for like the normal DS game, the DS games were like always completely different from the actual game, and
Yeah.
then the Wii games were just extremely downgraded versions of the original.
Yeah, but
So,
I'm just like surprised that they don't do that anymore because like you would think that they would like be willing to put it on Switch because like
Might
they're
be.
maybe I
putting
It
mean they
might
may
be.
be too big. They may be too big.
well, I
I
mean they're
kind of
putting
don't
like
think that.
Doom and like
Oh, they
Skyrim
are.
onto it. Well, like it's already
Um,
on it, I mean. And also like
yeah.
Breath of the Wild is a pretty big game. I don't know. It just feels like
Huh.
they're kind of like
Yeah.
waste
I don't
they,
know.
they
Maybe
don't
maybe
it's
they
like
just don't see enough of a market there.
yeah, I don't know. It
Because
just feels like they
if
could make
somebody already has an Xbox One or a PS4, I mean, why would you want to go ahead and buy a Call of Duty on the Switch
that is
when
true.
most of your friends are probably going to play it on those consoles? So,
Yeah.
Yeah,
But I mean,
true.
it just like feels like a lot of people would like love to just like kind of play Call of Duty on the go with the Switch. I mean,
Yeah, that would be pretty nice. Like if you're on a bus or a
yeah.
train or something, you can be
yeah,
playing.
exactly.
Okay, so how
Well,
far
funny
out
enough,
does the
that's
Switch
where
extend?
the new Call of Duty mobile game comes in.
Wait, what?
Real?
Yeah, there's going to be a Call of Duty mobile game.
Hmm.
Okay, and so
That's
how does it?
It
Is
interesting.
it a? How does that work
I
exactly?
think it's gonna be. I think it's gonna be kind of like the Chinese Call of Duty, in a way.
What's
Call of
that?
Duty Online, where it's just a It's a culmination of every Call of Duty into one thing. So it's got like pretty much every Call of Duty map on there, every weapon, every freaking whatever, blah blah. It's Call of Duty. It's a big freaking pile of Call of Duty.
It's on mobile.
we're gonna have to keep a counter of how many times we say Call of Duty.
We could just call it COD.
It will be on mobile. It's not out.
Wait, so is it just gonna be like a completely new game, or is it like just like a different, like maybe just like the first one, but just on mobile?
No, it's a completely. Well, I don't want to say completely different because it's just ripping stuff out of every game.
But it is like a
But
first-person shooter.
it is a first-person shooter.
Hmm, that is
It's
interesting.
basically, it's like I said, all the Call of Duties put into one,
Wait,
and
really?
then
That could be
Oh,
kind of
sorry.
interesting, actually.
Sorry if I wasn't listening. Like, did you say
yeah,
that? Dang it.
I'm
I did.
sorry, I wasn't listening at all.
But I don't know what I was just thinking about. I just kind of blanked out for a second. That's not concerning at all.
Oh no, no, no.
That's
Caleb's having strokes.
but
Um,
All right,
so
well, ooh,
I do have a question though about this Call of Duty game
yes.
and about how maybe it might not be that good because there's so much stuff that's like really good about it.
uh-huh.
Ends up being like really awesome, and it's like the best Call of Duty game ever.
Well,
Next
that's
Better
step.
than Advanced Warfare? I don't think so, dude.
because Advanced
What
Warfare had
is
Kevin Spacey.
like step? Like how do you make it better than this?
Yeah, honestly, like how does it like make it better than the other Call of Duty games?
Yeah. No,
I
I mean like
think
how
just because of the things. Well, I mean, first of all, new engine.
That
So
is true.
that's a big improvement.
And also
And
more
then second
realistic.
of all, yeah, it's got a more realistic, I guess, vibe to it. And I don't know, God, that's a really tough question to answer. How
Yeah,
does this
honestly.
Call of Duty top all the other Call of Duties?
well,
Has
my
any of the
question
other Call of Duties topped the other Call of Duties?
my
Honestly,
Because it's
question
always like,
honestly in my opinion, Call of Duty Black Ops 2 is the best one.
Black Ops 2 a lot, but no, what I was asking about was how do you make a game better than what this is supposed to be?
Oh, I get you now.
So,
Yeah, I really
like
don't know.
if
Like how do they
if
top
this is the
themselves if
perfect
this
game,
is like the
yeah.
like yeah, how do they top
yeah,
themselves if this is like the magnum opus?
You think people
that's
should
another thing
make
I was thinking. Is if they set if they set this new bar, that's like, oh yeah, we have one of the best Call of Duties out, and then like freaking Treyarch runs around that corner, and they're like, we have to release our next Black Ops game now. What are we gonna do? It's
Black
like,
Ops
huh?
5.
Didn't think of that. It's probably gonna be Black Ops 5, honestly.
So, you were gonna say something, Jarrett?
my question is like, do you think like not just in video games but also in like movies and stuff like that that like make things intentionally worse than what they could be just so that they can have some avenue to go down to top it later?
Yes, I think they do that.
Honestly, I could see that. Yeah.
And what example like
I
would you
could see
give for
them.
that? Like,
I could see them looking at something and being like, we could definitely go back and improve that, or we can improve it in the next.
All right. One movie that I saw recently that instantly popped into my head whenever you said that is John Wick 3. Still an amazing movie, but it felt like the whole time it was just like, but just wait until the next one, you know? And it just
mm,
felt like it kind of like held itself back just so the next one could just be like insane, you know what I mean?
oh, good.
Because it's supposed to be like the crazy finale, you know? So of course it's just gonna be
Yeah,
like, all right, we gotta hold back so we can kind of
yeah.
like. So I can see like stuff like that happening, you know?
Mm. I
Or
guess
just
the
like
alternative is just even up the craziness even more somehow.
that is true. Like I'm always up for that, honestly. Like just like make something more intense every time, you know.
Yeah,
But
I agree.
honestly, like it annoys me so much that they still call those games Black Ops, cause like it's just like they have no connection to the first two Black Ops at all. It's just in name, and that annoys me so much because the second one is my favorite Call of Duty. And it's
I've
just
only
like
played the first two actually,
you've only played what?
and I've actually only completed the campaign for the first one.
So you've only played the first two?
Yeah, I've
Sorry.
played the first two, but I've only completed the campaign for the first one.
Yeah, sorry, you kind of cut out for a second.
Sorry, yeah,
Yeah, you're good now though. But
good.
like honestly, like I just love like all the open-endedness of the second one, and it's just like it never really felt like they were like kind of like doing like a janky job at it, you know? Like it felt like every choice you did had like actually mattered and whatnot. Cause like it feels
Yeah,
like with most like a lot of games that like have like, oh, you can make choices in this. Like the choices always kind of feel like, you know, like they kind of feel
yeah.
like they were just like kind of second, like.
Have you guys ever seen those like things where they take a Telltale game and they'll like do a timeline of how all your choices do things, and like everything just kind of wraps back into one thing? So really, you're not even really making any choices that actually affect the game.
Well,
You're
like
just kind of going along.
yeah, there's still like characters that you can save or like let die, but even then, like just sometimes it's like basically you'll I'll use like an example for from Walking Dead. Basically, like in the first episode, you have a choice of either saving this guy or this lady, and then in the next episode, some like crazy stuff happens and like everything falls apart, and then the person that you saved just dies anyway,
Oh, okay.
and it's like it still makes you kind of feel like your choices matter. Like I still love the
Yeah,
games for their stories, but it's just like it's still like it's like does this even really matter? And also like uh sometimes the choice like giving you no choice is kind of like cool from a story perspective, you know?
yeah, I think so too.
Like
Like not,
like in the second season of Walking Dead, like you're able to make all these choices, but like since you're just playing as a little girl, it kind of makes sense that like a lot of those choices don't really have any effect, you know?
yeah,
It's just like, oh man. And
yeah,
it's just like it sometimes it's kind of cool, and it feels like the game with like the most amount of choice was probably Wolf Among Us, which is my favorite Telltale game.
mm,
And it's like because like you're able like to just do like absolutely crazy stuff, and like by the end
yeah.
everybody like hated you or loved you or like was afraid of you or something, you know. So like that was my favorite Telltale game. Sorry if I like kind of went on a rant about like Telltale games. You guys there? We are back, fellas, and
Are you gonna
Hey,
cut out? Are you gonna
fellas
cut
and
out that part?
ladies,
fellas and ladies.
I don't think you're
fellas
We
gonna
and
cut out
ladies.
that part.
yeah we kind of got cut out because the internet was being crappy. We are back, ladies and gents, ladies and fellas, girls
We're
and
still gonna talk.
guys.
Do you have anything to add more onto the Call of Duty thing?
Um,
Not really. I was
Yeah,
just gonna ask what you guys think Battlefield could do to top Call of Duty.
honestly, I think that Battlefield should just go back to modern times because they're like World War I and World War II stuff is just really boring in my opinion. Like
I
just like
disagree about the World War I stuff. The World War I stuff is really good. I like it,
uh-huh.
but so much of the World War, like Battlefield 5, like what I've heard is a lot of the weapons in that game are just from Battlefield 1. So it's
mm,
like,
Oh,
I
really?
mean,
Honestly, I think
sure
that
we're set in like the World War II setting, but a lot of the stuff we've already used before,
yeah,
and I
honestly.
don't know. I just keep on hearing bad things about that game, and I just
I've never actually played a Battlefield game before, so like, what's the difference between it and
oh
like Call of
my
Duty?
gosh. Well, the biggest difference would have been that Battlefield had the bigger team battles because Battlefield is 32 versus 32, and then Call of Duty was always 6v6. But now Call of Duty is like putting on their big boy pants, and Battlefield down here is still in freaking diapers. So
Yeah.
That's a good analogy.
I
Honestly,
have no
like
idea how Battlefield could
Flavor, you
improve.
don't even know the flavor.
honestly, I think that the whole like World War II game thing is like kind of oversaturated now. Like it's just too
Yeah,
much.
It's not. I think it was oversaturated, but after a while, it died off. There wasn't a lot of World War II games because they had Modern Warfare, and then every game was kind of like getting into that era of stuff now.
Yeah, but
And
now it
then
just feels like a lot of the World War II games are like, "Hey guys, remember the first couple Call of Duty games? Remember that?" I
yeah,
mean, it's just like, yeah, I don't know. It just
I
feels
mean,
like
I
they're
guess
catering.
I think they should do a
I
Call
don't
of Duty
know.
that's like
I
set
feel
in
like
like
the only reason Call of Duty went back to World War II was because people were actually I know because people were tired of the modern shooters. And so saying they're going back to World War II, boots on the ground, which is what they said a whole bunch, would get more people to buy the games. But Battlefield just showed up a little too late to that party.
Yeah, honestly, I don't know. I just like Battlefield a lot more whenever it's just like kind
But
of modern. That way, there's
yeah,
like a lot more unlockables, and they're just like more like cool guns that you can use, and just like there's more
Battlefield
vehicles and
1
like
is still a solid, immersive game. Every time I play that, I get super immersed in it. It's super fun, even though I do get frustrated sometimes.
and do
honestly,
you remember
like a great multiplayer game, in my opinion, has to have like a lot of good progression.
Yes.
I would agree with that. I was playing some Call of Duty game. I think it was Black Ops 2, maybe. Where I was like, it was either that or like Modern Warfare 2 or something where I was just doing online because like I wasn't really into the campaign at that point.
Uh,
Kind of progressing and like increasing your rank and stuff was actually kind of fun, which I'm normally not really into. I'm normally more about the story than like that kind of stuff. But
Yeah.
it was kind of fun, honestly.
yeah, honestly, I'll take any like
Some
single player campaign over any multiplayer. Honestly.
Me too.
some Call of Duty games have that effect on me where I'll play the multiplayer and it's like I just can't stop because I'm enjoying the progression so much of
Uh,
unlocking all these new things. And so with some Call of Duty games, it's like if you just simply play one match, at the end of the match, it feels like I've unlocked so many things. I'm
But
like, wow, this is so much fun because every match I'm unlocking
also,
something new.
you
yeah,
can't just do just one match because whenever you lose, like for me at least, like win or lose, like and you did, so it's not really like a satisfaction type of thing. So you want to keep playing, you know.
Yeah,
yeah. Honestly, it's just
Um,
like it's not really
I
like
feel
the
like
whole.
that's.
Sorry.
You go ahead.
It's not really the whole like getting better at the game that like makes me like keep playing. It's just like getting more cool stuff. Cause it's just
for me,
like
it's
I don't
just
know.
getting better at the
I
game,
feel
like
like
more skill.
Yeah. Well, like that does certainly like have an aspect to it, but it's just like I don't know. It just most multiplayer games don't really like keep my attention unless it does
Yeah,
have like a lot of unlockables.
a
kind of
good
thing.
example of a bad multiplayer progression is Overwatch.
I agree.
That game has the worst progression ever. Like, oh man, I could talk. Oh my gosh, Overwatch has single-handedly the worst progression in any game ever. It's so
How does it go so?
unrewarding and freaking bullcrap because it can take so long to get one level,
Yeah.
and then with one level you get one loot box, and then with that loot box you get a random chance at a, any piece of loot really.
Yeah, there's no like skin specific things or anything. It's always like, oh, you could get some
Yeah,
sprays or you could get a really good skin. Who knows? But it's like but you can get loot boxes through arcades, but even then that's like only weekly, right?
that's a weekly thing. But
Yeah.
also the common player, so like me, I only ever get on Overwatch like literally every now and then. I'm not on it 24/7.
Me too,
But
honestly.
when I do want to get a loot box, I like I have so much stuff I haven't unlocked. I know for sure I'm not going to get anything good. So I don't feel like I want to go into the game and progress more because it's so difficult to get the currency because the currency is also in the loot boxes and then it takes forever to level up. I can't play what I want to play. If I want to get loot boxes and earn loot, I have to play the arcade, which I don't always want to play the arcade every freaking time. Sometimes the arcade are random like set of game modes every I think it's like daily or weekly. So if there's something I don't want to play in there, or if I don't want to play any of the game modes but want to get the loot, I just have to either suck it up and suffer through those game modes, or just completely ignore that and just try to level up, which it could take like 2 hours, not 2 hours, but like an hour and a half,
Mhm.
or
See,
maybe an hour to level up twice.
this is where I think Call of Duty is really good at progression because like you can play for like a couple matches and then you'll like increase in your rank
Yeah,
doing
exactly. And
that.
then you
You
like kind
unlock
of get
stuff
like
every
little
time.
yeah, and then like you kind of get like little small like little small customization things instead of like
I
full
like the little rank,
skins.
little flag thing and stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly. Like I like kind of individual like customization more than just like, oh, you get this character but you can get a different skin for him or something.
Yeah,
It's like
mhm.
I like it more
It kind
whenever
of
like you
makes
can
you
like
feel,
kind of choose different helmets or like choose different like boots or something, you know? I like
it kind
stuff
of
like
lets you
that more.
more. It's like you're more personalized instead
Yeah,
of because
exactly.
there's other people that have the exact same thing as you. It's
Yeah.
kind of like how in TF2, like everybody has the same characters, but you can get like hats and miscellaneous items and different weapons and stuff like that.
Yeah, I like that. Exactly.
Yeah, it's cool.
I think I'd consider that my biggest fear of Call of Duty is the microtransactions and what they're going to do with loot boxes because it's been in
Yeah,
every Call of Duty. So what are they going to do with Modern Warfare? We
basically,
know that they'll probably hold off for a month, then release it after a bunch of reviews come out. But what could come with those?
Honestly, I wouldn't put it past them. But
my pitch is that they're gonna release the game for $60, right? But it's not really like the game; it's like access to get the game once they actually release the game. This
yeah,
game,
and
it's
then
another $60 for each map
and
and
even
gun and part of the story.
and
Each
even
chapter
then
is another 60.
and even then you only might get that because it's a loot box. You either get that
Yeah,
or you have like a random guy in like a suit just come to your house and punch you in the face.
yeah. It's
Yeah,
either you get the game or you get the of the Thriller music video, where after they finished filming, they just kept filming Michael Jackson's sort of like sit at his chair and eat a bagel.
Yeah. Then maybe drink some
Activision
coffee, you
somehow
know.
got a hold of that.
Yeah,
Then maybe like
it,
Speaking of another game's progression, I want to talk a little bit about Destiny's progression.
all
I'm
right.
actually I don't know. I never mind. I don't want to talk about Destiny's progression.
It's just
all
too
right.
much to handle.
I was mostly gonna bring up how a lot of the loot is I don't know for me a little unsatisfactory.
uh
I just feel like they don't have a big enough of a loot pool,
yeah, I
Yeah,
understand
and
that.
so whenever like you are progressing and you're just getting the same crappy guns over and over, it never really feels like you're getting anything different.
Mhm.
That honestly kind of throws me out of it. I'm just like, yeah, I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah, I get that.
So
Yeah, it's just like they need more. They need a lot of diversity with their guns.
yeah, I
All
guess
right. Huh?
I I guess that's one benefit the new Call of Duty is gonna have is since every gun is customizable in such different ways that really however your gun can look completely different to someone else's.
Yeah, I'm
And
excited for
so I
that.
guess that's a sense of progression in itself. Just being able to customize your weapon to the point where it's like it's your weapon. So
Yeah. Yeah,
that's
it's
pretty cool. Like
exciting.
So,
All right, so what were you saying, Jared?
kind of like um, interested in with games. Be kind of cool to see if there's anything like this in the new Call of Duty.
Like what?
Um, is okay. So the closest word I can think of it is metagaming, but I don't know if that's exactly what I'm describing. But it's like where there's game like there's another like game that you can kind of get really good at, but like the actual point of the game is like in before I've been playing that a lot recently on the secret slide that you can go down,
Uh-huh.
finding all the like how much of the I can skip and still land it. And when what I mean by skip is like jumping off at any point and see how much I can like skip by jumping off at one point in the slide and still land it and still make it and have a
Oh
hopefully
yeah.
shorter time.
what
Where you can
what
find
game was it?
Yeah, sorry. What game is it?
for
Can you repeat it, please? You're kind of cutting in and out whenever you say that. It's weird because
super
it's only whenever you
Could
say
you
the
use
neg
it in a
the
sentence? Could you
yeah.
game
spell it out,
is
please?
okay. So the game
It's literally like only cutting out whenever you say the game's title.
the, the last couple of times were intentional. The last couple of times I just said the game is and didn't say anything afterwards. But no,
Okay.
it's Super Mario 64.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
I didn't even hear the Super Mario part. I just heard
Yeah.
or. I was like, what?
But the slide in that, and to some extent the slide with the penguin. But if you do anything like that, you cheated, and then it doesn't count it. So I'm not really focusing on that so much. I'm just sort of counting on the slide, the secret slide in the castle,
Oh
which is
yeah.
pretty fun.
Hmm.
I've gotten down to 22.5 seconds.
Nice.
That's my fastest time.
What's like the
Faster, but
normal
anyway,
time?
I wish I could get faster, but like I kind of wonder if there will be anything like that in the new Call of Duty game, like sort of a side game that's not really like an official part of it, but like something you can find to do.
Yeah, that could be
There
cool.
is, I think, because so far all we know about is a campaign and the multiplayer. That's all we know about. I think there have been rumors of a special ops mode, like in Modern Warfare 2 and Modern Warfare 3. I personally would be uh, totally okay with that. Give
That's
you
different from what
something
I'm
to do,
describing.
Jarrett.
It's
That
different
would
from
give
what
you
I'm
something to do
describing.
because in the past special ops modes, there has been different missions where you had like personal records you could beat, such
Oh,
as
okay.
like
I guess
the
that's kind of
shooting
true.
range.
Yeah, something there then I could maybe figure out.
Yeah.
Yeah, that could be cool.
So yeah,
So,
that's another big thing about the next Call of Duty that they have not announced about yet. So
Okay,
hopefully
that
it
sounds
comes
kind of
up.
cool. I'll be
Yeah.
anxious to see how that turns out.
all right. So, do you guys want to switch over to Once Upon a Time in Hollywood?
I was about to
I,
say that. We
I
Yeah,
should
would be good
because
with
switch
that.
over.
we're at
So this
37
is the
minutes.
this is now the spoiler
Spoiler.
section for Quentin Tarantino's
Yeah.
Once Upon a Time in
If you
Hollywood. So
don't
if you
want to be
haven't seen
Uh,
spoiled,
it, get the freaking
uh,
heck out, you freaking loser.
yeah. If you're not out, I'm just gonna find you and I'm gonna give you a slap on the wrist. Just gonna
that's
say
what you
like,
deserve.
no. you're a
He's gonna
fan.
not
do it
like
with his
in an
foot.
aggressive way.
Yeah, with my foot, because that's the Quentin Tarantino way, or should I say Quentin Tarantine toes? Am I right?
Hey.
Hey,
But what
because
do
he
you
likes
guys
All
foot.
right.
most like? Let's go around
What?
your favorite part of the movie. Like, and go around and say your favorite
This
part of
is
the movie. We'll
now
start with Caleb.
spoilers. This is now spoiler section. So
All
leave.
right,
Hey, you've been warned.
all right. So
So, Caleb, you start.
what? I start first.
Yeah, you start, and then we'll go to Clayton and then me.
All right.
So favorite parts of the movie.
Favorite part of the movie was honestly my favorite part was like I don't want to say the ending because that's probably your guys' favorite part too. So I kind of like want to. I'm probably gonna say something that
My favorite part is
yeah I just loved the entire like little section where Rick Dalton is acting for the that western, and he's like kind of just like in his trailer freaking out at himself, and he's like, and then he finally like does good. I really like that part.
that's a really good part. That
Yeah,
shit kind of showed that whole section, even not like outside the trailer part, but just that whole scene with Leonardo DiCaprio having to act. It really showed kind of his acting chops.
yeah, dude, because he was
And it's
acting
not
while
even
also acting.
yeah, so he's acting as an actor, so that was pretty like double layered and clever, I thought.
Yeah, it was really cool. All right,
And
so
Uh, my favorite part, honestly, I enjoyed the whole movie as a whole, but
every scene was
but
my
my favorite
favorite.
part probably has to be the music. I've been listening to the soundtrack and all the radio ads that they have in the soundtrack, and like, God, it's just so good. And every time I hear the music, I just think of the part of the movie where Brad Pitt is just driving.
yes, that's what I was going to bring
Every
up.
every scene he is driving in, I'm just like, God dang, that looks for some reason it looks so good. Why?
It's
He's
Dude,
just
shot.
honestly,
driving.
it makes me want to like drive around Hollywood.
I was
Yeah,
watching
and
it.
listen to that music.
Yeah, exactly. Dude, honestly, like my favorite music from that movie is the song that plays whenever he's fighting the Manson children.
Yeah, that's a pretty good song.
That's very
I,
good.
Yeah. Yeah, like that it's a cover of Let Me Go. Yeah, let me go. Why don't you, babe? Just keep me hanging on. I just like love that whole thing because it gets me pumped up, dude. Because it's just like, oh, this is like the best part of the movie. It's just like, dun 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 dun, dun, dun,
That
It's like,
was a really funny part of the movie.
dude,
what I
it's just
love
like,
that
about
that whole moment was built up so well and it paid
yeah,
yes,
off.
dude.
okay, so like in that movie, that scene is that like so if you know about the Manson like murders and stuff like that, that's not the
Mhm.
scene at all that you're expecting,
Yeah,
right? So like
exactly.
it just comes out of completely left field, and it's perfect and it's hilarious the way it's like just
Subverts your
everything about it's great.
expectations. Yeah,
I'm so glad that they didn't kill the characters either. I'm so glad that
Yeah,
they got to
yeah.
actually win
well, it's because
despite
like
Brad Pitt's character being on acid and then Leonardo DiCaprio's in the pool listening to freaking I think it was a script.
Honestly, it's like really
well,
cool because
he's listening to a song and that
honestly, it's like really cool because like if you like change little bits of it, that whole entire like end scene could be a short film.
could
Cause
be actually, yeah. Like if you just got rid of like the Manson connection, you could just
yeah,
make it seem like
exactly.
he just like got on acid. And
Also like
then,
the part with where he's like acting at the place, that also could just be like its own short
it's
film.
true.
You don't even
That
have
is
to
true.
change that much about it. It's just like that's what I love about the movie. It's just like certain parts are just like they're just great on their own. You can just like kind of
That's
watch
pretty
them apart
interesting.
and just
It,
like kind
like
of
the
just
part,
it's almost like an
like
anthology in a way.
yeah, if you added like a little bit of like backstory for Brad Pitt's character, that whole part where he's like imagining it about like why he won't get work, that could also be a short film.
Yeah, honestly.
Yeah. Um,
So what's your favorite part, Jared?
my favorite part, um, it's hard to because you both kind of like. I'm not gonna say like you took my favorite part, but like you guys brought up some really good stuff that kind of makes me think. I'm just gonna go out and say the ending, talk about that,
All
and
right.
Yeah.
also because it was a really good thing. And so that's just because I don't really have anything else to add as far as like my favorite part because everything is just like kind of little things, but I wouldn't necessarily say I had like a one favorite part.
Yeah.
I think a lot of the, or like Caleb said though, when he was uh on that one set for that one cowboy show where he's playing the villain, I thought that entire section was
That was
really good.
perfect. You know what I
Yeah.
like about the movie?
And I loved his reaction to when the little girl goes, "That was the best acting I've ever seen." He goes,
Yeah.
"Thank you,
That's really that was
Rick
perfect.
freaking Dalton." I was
Yeah,
like,
they just
"God
cocks the
dang!"
gun too. It's just like if it was like any other Quentin Tarantino movie, you just like go straight into a shootout, but it's just like it just like little cock, just like kind of like that little cock of the gun, kind of like it kind of like escalated it a little bit because it just like made him
Yeah.
seem even more just like triumphant, you know.
So this was a Tarantino movie, and so like I don't know if any of his other movies were like that, but I really liked how it was just kind of a chill movie the whole time. Like it was just kind of
Pulp
slow.
Fiction is kind of like it.
Yeah, it's kind of a chill, even though it's about like crime and whatnot. It's still kind of a chill movie.
The
Like I
Hateful Eight, I think, is one of my favorites. Recently, I went and watched the extended version of it, which is like a 4 hour version of the movie. It cut into the chapters, so there's like part one, two, three, and four, and that really made me appreciate the Hateful Eight even more because there's a lot of scenes that got cut from the movie that
wait,
really added to it.
so the
Yeah,
extended version is better? Because I'm pretty sure
it
that's on Netflix, isn't it?
it's it is the extended version has its ups and downs. The in the beginning, like really, there's a lot of unnecessary stuff in the beginning.
Okay.
Unless you like that kind of just conversation
Does it
uh
ruin the
kind of
Because I
pacing?
do
themes in movies.
I do like
It
that kind of stuff.
then it should
That's
be
kind of what this
perfect for
movie
you
was.
then.
That's kind of what this movie was.
Yeah, honestly.
It
Also,
didn't really ruin the pacing,
uh-huh.
but at the very end, I'm not gonna say anything because Jarrett hasn't seen it. At the very end, that's when the pacing got a little weird.
So does it not end
So
where it ends in the original movie, or does it end
it
there, but it's
ends
just a
where
little bit more dragged out?
it ends where it ended in the original. I mean, the ending itself is pretty much like it's pretty much how it was in the original movie. All
Uh-huh.
that's there, but there is some stuff added before that that is really interesting to see. So watching all that really gave me a new respect for that movie. So
All right.
I definitely recommend it.
Honestly, it'll be cool to like kind of like watch that movie, and then like it might not be as good as the original, like it might like not be as like paced well is what I mean, but then like whenever you go back and watch the original, then you'll kind of have like all that extra information in your head, just like, okay, so this is why this
Yeah,
character is acting this way, you know what I mean?
yeah.
And all
You
but
So
know,
it definitely watch the original version and then go back and watch the extended version
I should
because I
watch
think it's worth seeing those extra scenes.
all right.
the original first. Is that what you're saying, or should I see the
Yeah, you
extended
should
version
probably
first?
watch the original first.
Watch the original first because it feel like the original the first time you watch that it's a mystery movie, so I mean you get to kind of sit there and think about who you think is who, and
Hmm.
then once you figure all that out, it's even more interesting to go back
Okay.
because there's so much more to the story and how those people got in those places that got cut from the original, and it's honestly pretty interesting. So
Was
Okay,
it
that
kind of
so
adds to that experience.
was that Tarantino's choice, or was it like the studios that like were like, "Ah, you got this is too long. You got to cut this stuff."
I'm not sure whose choice it was. I feel like it was
I
probably
feel like
Tarantino's though.
I kind of feel like Tarantino doesn't really like have very much of like studio interference with his movies.
Yeah, honestly,
Yeah,
probably. Like he did
Just
start out
watching
as an indie filmmaker, so I mean, like,
just watching this movie, like I can't really see how any like if there was like a bunch of studio involvement, I can't see how they came up with that because that's like a very non-mainstream type movie.
yeah, honestly,
Like nothing really about it really makes sense for like a general audience type thing.
like
But
it
it's
feels
still really
like
good. I think it works for general audiences.
I I think I read that this is Quentin Tarantino's highest grossing movie,
yeah.
and well, I think it.
It had
Well,
the
I'm not sure
highest
if it's
opening.
highest. Yeah, the highest opening is what I read, and I think that like Quentin Tarantino is just like at that point where it's just like he can just do anything. Kind of like with Steven Spielberg, they just like they they just have like no pushback. You know, they're just like, all right, so I'm just gonna do this, and then the studio's like, well, we know you're gonna make money, so here, and like
Yeah.
that's why, and like that's also what happened with George Lucas, which is why the prequels aren't like I love the prequels, but like the Star Wars prequels is what I'm talking about. But
The
they could have been better, you know, and like
Lego
it
Batman
feels
prequels.
yeah, the Lego Batman prequels. But it's like they could have been better if somebody like kind of stopped him and was like, "Hey George, this doesn't really work." But since he's like, "Oh
They
crap,
need
it's
more Jar
George
Jar.
Lucas," like yeah, we needed more Jar Jar, dude. But it's like since they were like, oh guys, it's George Lucas, we gotta let him do whatever he wants. Like it was kind of like he kind of like what did do whatever he wanted, and that's why they were like a little bit kind of like they weren't as good as they could have been.
I think the prequels are better than the original trilogy,
Uh,
personally.
in some
I would
ways, they
disagree.
definitely are.
I think
You know what I'd
um,
also disagree with?
I
The
swear, if you
Last
bring
Revenge of
up
the
Jedi
the
Sith.
last, I
ain't
will
good.
kill you.
I think
I
Revenge of
will,
the
The
Sith
Last
is the
Jedi is a
best Star
bad
Wars.
Star Wars
I
movie.
will murder you to death. uh, all right, so
Revenge of the
what?
Oh
Sith.
man.
All right, so one more thing that I loved about Once Upon a Time in Hollywood was that Rick Dalton, like at some points in the movie, he's just like hacking his lungs out, and I love that
That's
he
because of the
didn't
smoking.
die at the end because it's realistic for people that are smoking to like be like it feels like too much in movies. Somebody will be like, oh, and they're just like, oh, that character's gonna die. You know what I mean? It's just like I
So I
see
have a
that
question
way too
about that
much.
actually.
Yeah, I really like that they kind of subverted your expectations of that
Yeah,
because
exactly.
when Brad Pitt's character started that cigarette, the acid cigarette, I thought, oh god, they're gonna kill him. They're gonna freaking
Yeah,
kill him, and then
honestly,
they're
like
gonna
I
kill
thought that
Rick
was kind of like
Dalton.
kind of
And I was like, this is gonna be the worst payoff ever. But
yeah,
no,
what I thought
it just
was
totally goes left field, and it's
uh
like, this is what you're getting.
I have a question actually about the smoking.
yeah.
It is so I read that like okay, so how do they do the smoking? Are they actually smoking or is it like digital or what are they doing really?
I don't think they get like well, actually they probably
Like
could, but like honestly, I'm sure that like if Leonardo DiCaprio doesn't actually want to smoke real cigarettes, I'm sure that they could just like kind of take it like a cigar wrap and just like kind of put it filled with like cotton or something and just like he just like kind of
how
like
does that how does the actual smoke work is my question.
he just kind of like
Is that an actual thing they do?
wait a minute.
Well, okay. In the old, I do know that in like old television, like before they actually like knew about like smoking was like really bad and stuff. Um, actually smoke on screen because I read a story about Burgess Meredith, who played the
Oh yeah,
Penguin.
he smoked a lot as the penguin
Yeah,
because he had like one of those little like kind of cigarette straw things
yeah. And so
that were like really
this might not
fancy.
be true, but what I read was that the reason how he does like that wah 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 thing whenever he's acting
Uh huh.
He was saying that the reason he did that is because he would cough whenever they were filming him smoking, and he did that to cover it up.
Oh, huh.
So that may or may not be true, but if that is true, that means they did at least at one point actually use real cigarettes whenever they were filming smoking. But I
Yeah.
don't know how they do that now because I feel like Leonardo DiCaprio seems like the type of person that wouldn't smoke.
Yeah. Or he could like smoke just for a role. I mean, I
It's
wouldn't
true.
doubt
Some
that he
people
would
will
be
do it.
that deep into it, you know. But I'm
I'm
sure
That
sure
that
is
there
there's
are
true. Yeah.
ways
some.
though.
Yeah, I'm sure there's some trick they use to make it look like he's smoking, but
Yeah, I
it
mean
could
like
just
it
be
could
some
be
fake
digital.
cigarette.
Yeah, exactly. It could just be like just like filled with paper or something. You just like you
Yeah,
know, like I'm
it's
sure
not something
they
you can actually inhale. It's just kind of
yeah, and
burns itself away.
even then if he was smoking a real cigar, he could just like kind of like have it in his mouth, just like have the smoke in his mouth and just like well
Yeah.
there are probably
That's still battery
there
lungs though.
yeah. But like now that I think about it, I think there are some scenes where like he kind of like takes a breath and then he starts talking. That wouldn't really work if it was just like kind of like in his mouth, it would all
Yeah,
just kind of
Yeah.
come out. But like yeah, I'm sure like there's some way that they kind of like get away with it.
Yeah.
yeah,
Something that's really good is kind of going back to what you were talking about when Cliff was just kind of riding around in his car and playing the music. Good at using music to kind of like tell the story a little bit. So what I mean by that is like, so like in that car scene, but like another cut to a different part, like the song cuts, and so there's always different cuts of different songs, and so that kind of shows you that time is passing because he's having to listen to all these different songs as he's trying to get back to his house. So
Yeah.
thematically, that kind of works as well because it kind of shows how he's in a different position from like this famous actor and he's living in Hollywood and stuff, whereas Cliff is like living like behind like a drive-in theater or something,
Yeah, and
and
also
it
it
takes
makes
these
sense because he's a stunt man, and he's already kind of like behind the scenes,
uh,
like
part where they were kind of
thematically.
using music to kind of tell the story was
Top tier.
when Sharon was in the her room just kind of listening to music, and like she puts on the record and she's just kind of dancing.
Uh-huh.
That song kind of shows sort of like what her personality is.
Yeah,
yeah,
honestly.
So like that, where they didn't have so much emphasis on like giving the exposition, and they just kind of use both the music and what was going on in the scene to kind of explain the character. And I kind of liked that there wasn't like it wasn't a huge plot heavy movie. It was mostly just character stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
I liked something. After we saw the movie, you guys pointed out something that I didn't realize, but it's the part with Bruce Lee,
Mm.
and I thought at first like, oh, that's something that happened in the past. That's why he got kicked off set. That's why people don't really trust him around there. But then you guys said that maybe that's what he thought he could do. Like he thought he could kick Bruce Lee's freaking butt.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So
Yeah, just like
I
kind of
kind of
like
like I kind of
imagining it
like that
kind of playing
perspective.
out. Yeah. Yeah, and I love that
Yeah, I kind of like that different thing.
I love that like he kind of I love that like he kind of showed Bruce Lee as kind of a jerk. Like kind of like
Yeah,
yeah, like it wasn't just like oh, he was such a great man just cuz he's dead. It's just like oh, well he's just like kind of a
apparently like Bruce Lee's daughter like doesn't like how he's played in the movie.
oh yeah. Well, I
yeah,
can see why
he
honestly,
actually
but
got it.
like
Yeah, I can see why because they portray him as a really douchey,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
egotistical person. But I mean, I'm sure in real life he wasn't that way. It's just kind of funny to see that
Well, I
that
mean, he
person
could
who
I
have
think
wouldn't be
it's
been.
like that in real life.
I mean, he
yes
could have
his
been, honestly,
He could have been, but I
it's
mean,
different for
I
her
doubt
because
it.
she's like his
related.
daughter, so I can kind of
Yeah.
see how that might seem like kind of disrespectful, like when your dad died and he's put like that in the movie. But like from an entertainment perspective, I think it really works.
Yeah, honestly. It's just like one of the things where you just like kind of just lighten up. It's a movie. And it's like um
I mean, to be fair, you're telling like someone who like lost their dad.
Yeah, Jeez,
So,
Caleb, lighten up. It's just a movie. Your dad's been dead a long time.
Oh, yeah.
like, imagine like if one of your
Well, I
guys'
lost
dads, like,
3 of my dads. You don't see me crying about it.
or like, I mean, like, I know, like, if my dad died, and then like there was a movie where he was like portrayed like that, it's kind of like a joke. I might not be like super happy about that, but
I don't know.
but
Yeah,
the
they
movie
Just
just
is
like
really
go like
great.
behind your back and then betray your dad as being extremely lazy and like stuck up or something. Just completely not himself at all.
yeah.
So I
We're
was
doing a
watching it.
movie about Gascap, and Caleb, I was really thinking we could change up your character a little bit. I was thinking maybe he could become a smoker.
What I like about that actor that plays Bruce
I
Lee.
just I put out a cigarette and I'm just like, oh, start smoking.
Um,
Yeah, the actor that played Bruce Lee looked extremely similar to him.
Yeah, he did
what's
a
cool
really
about
good job, honestly.
him. So his name's Mike Mo. There's two
Oh yeah.
things that are cool about him. One is that he played Triton in the show Inhumans, and I honestly thought
Oh,
that
cool.
character was the best part of that show. Good, but
Honestly, that
the
show
second
could have been better.
100%, I didn't like it at all. But I watched all of it. Um, I think that, and that's a different conversation. But
Yeah.
it's cool because he's not like super like a famous actor, and so like it's not like easily recognizable. They like
Yeah, honestly.
um, he actually like has or something like in Wisconsin that he actually like teaches martial arts at.
Oh yeah.
It's like the right word for that, but
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Wait, did you say dojo?
just the martial arts teaching place. I don't. Yeah, you know what? I'll just Google it.
I think it is called like a dojo. It's just like that's
This,
what
Wik-
it's usually called.
this Wikipedia article says Dojang,
Dojang.
Well, we
Jang, but
we have had
this is a
about
really
an
good.
hour-long podcast so far.
Yes,
You
we
guys think
have.
we
I think
should
we
start
can.
wrapping it up?
I think we can squeeze some more out of this Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, though.
I
Honestly,
don't know. It
I
feels
think we
like
could too, but I think we should
4 hours
probably
on this movie.
wrap this up. We should
yeah, we
probably
should
wrap
have.
this up now.
Yeah.
So
So
thanks for watching
movie.
this episode of the Gascat
I
Podcast.
just
Yes.
realized
Stuart, go ahead.
Thank you
we
for
didn't
joining.
actually spoil that much of the movie. Like we spoiled a little bit, but we kind of made it seem like we were just going to go into like all these super details.
Well, we
Like
did
we gave
spoil the
away
ending.
enough that I would say you shouldn't listen to this if you're going to see the
Honestly,
movie, but we didn't really
I
spoil that much.
I
Well,
would
we did
probably have
spoil
to go
the
back
ending
and
though.
watch it again and
Yeah,
really
that's
look
the
at some
only
of the
thing, really,
details.
though. But yeah, so
All
if you've
right.
seen this movie and have listened to this thing, go watch the movie again.
Yeah. Leave a like.
I'm definitely gonna have to watch that movie.
Hey,
Leave a like
give
and subscribe, and
if you like the
Leave a
movie, then
like and subscribe.
give us
just a
10
like
out
If
could
you
of
like
go a
10
the
small.
movie,
likes. Just make a
give
bunch
us
of
10 out of 10 likes. Give
make
us 10 out of 10 feet. Give us all the Margot Robbie feet.
just make like a whole bunch
We
of
love that Quentin
alternative
Tarantino foot fetish.
make a whole bunch of
Just
alternative
kidding.
accounts and use them all to like our videos.
Subscribe,
But only if you
and you
liked
And send us
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
yes.
all the
And if you didn't like
spacing.
it, then you should create a smear campaign against Gascap Productions.
Yeah,
Yes.
smear us. Smear us all over the place.
Great.
But Kevin Spacey has to be the leader of the campaign.
Yeah.
That's it for this episode
We
of the
want
Guest Cab
Kevin.
Podcast.
This is
Thanks for
the
watching.
end of the episode of Kevin, please smear us, the podcast.
One more thing.
God dang it, we've said the outro so many times.
All right, so I guess that's the end then.
Yeah.